Honey, we ahead of you.
I can't skip me for a while. That's so stupid. Excuse me.
uh,
Um,
okay. Uh, what the?
my boy sent for some crack on his nose.
All right, guys. Good morning to everybody. We still got a few more people logging in, so I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes. We're gonna start right at 10 after the hour.
Okay.
You want another Victor? No.
Yeah. Well, send me pictures, or send me what you have, and I'll send it to her and ask her to call you. Okay.
All right. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
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 Good. Good.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. This morning, we're going to start on our first developmental phase, which is phase one, self-identity, and we're going to be talking about genealogy. Before we get started, I see a face on here that I'm glad to see. One of your fellow Kappa Leaguers, Mr. Christopher Talaferro. Good morning, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, and you?
All right, all right. I know all of your fellow Kappa Leaguers. We were concerned about you. So for those who didn't know, we had a little health scare, but hopefully, God willing, everything will propel everything forward, and everything will be a-okay. All right. So genealogy. What we're going to be discussing today is who you are, where you come from. Uh, you understand more about genealogy and what that means, and hopefully, at the end of this will give you all some insight, and it'll make you all want to do a little research a little further on some things as far as your family, where your family comes from, who your family is. Did everybody get an opportunity to take a look at the handouts that I sent out, and they're also posted in the chat?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. All right. So, definition of genealogy. Genealogy is an account of the descent of a person, family, or group from an ancestor or from older forms. Basically, what that means is it's a lineage of who you are and where you come from and who you come from. If you look on this family tree right here, you'll see right here where it says 31 plus children. Just put yourself as one of those 31 children. And over here where you see husband, that's your father. And on this side of the tree, you see wife, that would be your mother. So this whole side of the tree over here would be your father's side of your family, which is called your paternal side. On this side would be your mother's side of the family, which would be classified as the maternal side. So you see here in number 3, the study of family ancestral lines. That's what we're going to be working on today. All right, phase 1. Who are you? So if somebody came up to you off the street and asked you, I'll take Donovan, you're sitting here looking on my screen and they ask me, who are you, Donovan? What would your answer be?
Donovan Towns.
That's your name. But who are you? I'm gonna let that resonate with you for a little while. We're gonna come back to that. All right. I'm gonna take one of the adults that's on here. So, Mr. Fletcher, if someone comes up to you and says to you, Mr. Fletcher, who are you? What would your response be?
See, you started something already. And good morning. No, first of all, good morning to everyone on the Zoom meeting, and it's good to be back with you guys. I've been away for a minute, but all's good. When you talk about who you are, when you ask me who I am, and in fact, I was just sitting here looking at my family tree that one of my nieces put together. And if there's a running joke in our family that all of the kids and everyone that we know, we realize that they act like someone in the family or they have characteristics. So if you say, who am I? I'm a combination of everybody in my family tree, from my great-great-grandmother on my daddy's side to my great-great-grandfather on my mama's side. And all of the traits of my hairline, which I have none, that's from my my mother's side of the family. If you were to look at my mother's brothers, I look like them. But if you look at my brother, he looks like my daddy's side of the family. So we're a combination of our DNA runs deep. And on the Hall side of the family, this is what you end up with. And on the Fletcher side of the family, my dad is 87 years old and has a full head of hair. My brother's 68 years old. He just started turning gray last year. I've been losing my hair since I was 32 years old. So I'm a combination of my ancestors. If that's the answer that I can go with, Brother Johnson.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna go down the line with this, asking this question, because everybody's gonna have a different answer. And as you all are listening to these answers, I want each of you all to reflect on yourself about that answer. So Donovan, I'm gonna come back to you now that you've heard what Mr. Fletcher said, to give you a point of reference as to who you are.
I'm the son of Daryl Towns and my mom's Rhonda Green. And I have a brother. And I'm a mixture of my mom and my dad.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
There you go.
Mr. Wigglesworth, I'm gonna go to you next, Mr. Wigglesworth.
I am I am Jamal Wigglesworth. I am a descendant of the Chippewa Native American tribe, as well as settlers from England. You know, I am a proud product of educators throughout my family.
Got it.
I'll just keep it short like that.
All right. Theo, same question. Who are you? Theo, can you hear me? I think you still on mute. There you go. Okay.
Um, I am a Schaefer, and that's pretty much the best I can come up with.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. You came up with enough. So I'm gonna go to your dad next then.
So I am Gene Schaefer. I am from one of the original African-American families that settled in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm about 6th or 7th generation Clevelander. On my father's side, I am part Native American, part German heritage. My great-great-grandfather was a German immigrant. And on my mother's side, we go back straight off the boat. I tell everybody we got off the boat in Virginia and we ran away to Cleveland, Ohio.
Right. Kari. You gotta unmute yourself. There you go.
My name is Takari Mason. My father's name is Terry Mason. My mother's name is Lakeisha Mason. And I get some of my features from my papa on my dad's side and my grandma on my mother's side.
Awesome. Awesome. Mr. Whitney. Daddy Whitney.
No, that's me. Give me Scott.
We can hear you.
Well, you know both my parents. My mother, Rose Marie Whitney, father, James Norfleet Whitney, proud parents of Anthony Whitney. I'm a mix of my mother and my father. I look just like my father. Some people call me his brother. So, you know, strong characteristics on my father's side, which is the common Whitney cheekbone. That's kind of an identifier if you're a real Whitney. But yeah, that's it for me.
All right. Miles Lowen.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
My
morning,
name is Miles Lowen, and I had the my mom's name was Chelsea Miles Lowen, and my dad's name is William Calvin Lowen. And on my dad's side, his mom's side, I think my grandma mom, she was half Indian, so I guess I'm half Indian a little bit. And then on my mom's side, it was mostly African Americans, and that's where I get my heritage at.
Okay. All right. Mr. Landon Glenn.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can't see you though.
Oh, wait. My fault. See me?
Oh, she did. Where'd you go?
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Landon Glenn. I'm an offspring from my dad, Howard Glenn, and my mom, Tara Smith. I don't really know nothing about the heritage part, but I would like to learn more about that.
All right.
That's all I got.
All right. Mr. Derek Johnson.
Derek Johnson, son of Richard and Deborah Johnson, who were, I would coin it as, they were descendants of sharecroppers, Jamaicans, Native Americans, Choctaw and Cherokee, and survivors of the migrants, survivors of the Irish famine that took place, or the Irish potato famine that took place in Ireland. My daughters traced our genealogy to include some people coming over in the Trail of Tears from Florida to Texas, because a lot of my maternal side of the family is from Bastrop, Texas. We got grandma on lock.
grandfather, they're Choctaw and they're out of Georgia. So I have a lot of family in Atlanta, Georgia, and a lot of family in Texas. Um, when my daughter was doing her research, that we had more sharecropper than slave in our gene pool. So she's still doing more stuff with that. That's why I'm Derek Johnson.
All right. Let's see who else we got on here. Savion.
Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. My name is Savion Gardner. My mama name is Tildy. My dad name is Desmond Gardner. My mom say I get my facial expression from her, and my dad say I get my big head from him. But, also, my mama said, I think she said we Cherokee Indians. I think my aunt said she's gonna research about it on ancestry.com, but I think my mama said we Cherokee Indians. I don't know.
Awesome. 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 All right. Alex Fitzhugh.
I'm Alex Fitzhugh, son of Danielle and George Fitzhugh, and I got my name from my great uncle and great great grandfather.
Okay. Mr. Caven Black.
Good morning. My name is Caven Black. I'm the son of Forrest and Renee Black. I don't know much about where we come from, but I do know we come from a long line of men who served in the Army.
All right. Let's see. Mr. Elijah Johnson.
Good morning, everybody. I guess people say that I have my strongest genes from my dad, Wallace Johnson, and I look more so like my grandpa and my uncles, and I have like a lot of my tendencies from my mom's side of the family, and like facial expressions and like how I act. So yeah.
All right. Mr. Houston Hopkins.
I don't know that much about where I come from right now, but my roots are from Richmond and Southampton, Virginia.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go over to Mr. Rob Evans.
Good morning, all. My name is Robert Evans. My parents are Lee and Dolores Evans, and I guess, again, we got here in 1619, like most of us Afro-Americans. My lineage is a mixture of Afro-American, European, and Native American, and we reside quite a bit down in Evansville, North Carolina, sharecroppers, the likes. So.
All right. Dr. Brainy.
Good morning. My name is Michael Rainey, the son of Sylvester and Leneva Rainey. While I don't know much about heritage specifically, from what I know and can tell, unless you trace back a long time ago, I don't know if there's anything else outstanding on my mom's side of the family. My grandfather was already deceased when I was born. My grandmother was a laborer or a domestic, I should say. So she was a maid. And also coming out of, I guess, some of the sharecropping time frame. I know she picked cotton and other things. My dad, don't know too much about him in terms of the fact that he was adopted. So I seem to think that because he was adopted, I feel like his maternal grandparents, one of them probably were white, or one of their parents were white. Because if you knew my dad, he has very fine hair. I call it white people hair because it's just the kind of hair he can run a comb under the water and slick it back. You know, he's a type that he's mistaken for Italian, white, Hispanic, black. So, you know, he's very fair in complexion, things of that nature. While my mom is kind of a, I guess, a medium to dark complexion. So that's the extent of what I know about my genealogy.
All right. Mr. Joshua Miller.
Can you hear me?
We can't see you though.
All right. Can you see me now?
All right.
So I'm the son of Kevin and David Miller. I have a twin brother, and my parents are originated from Culpeper, Virginia. That's like in Northern Virginia. And I get most of my tendencies from my dad's side of the family. But my brother gets his from our mom. So that's all I know right now.
Okay. All right. Mr. Christopher Muse.
All right, named Chris Muse. So my father was adopted, Derry Muse. He has two names, two social security numbers. I'm named after him. Christopher Darrell Muse was his name before his adoption. Don't know much about his family. We think we are related to the Muse brothers out of Roanoke, which is where I was born, who were circus performers and entertainers. On my mother's side, we are Native American, and my great grandmother is mixed. Her father was a plantation owner. So of course he ended up sleeping with my great grandmother's mother on the plantation. So I've got a nice little mix of background once we go throughout our history. Stop, girl. But that is who I am as it pertains to my ancestral roots.
Okay. Mr. Harold McManus.
I am the product of Ella McManus and Ralph Harrington Johnson. I am number 9 of 11 children, born and raised in Wilmington, Delaware. And beyond that, it gets real complicated.
Got it. Mr. Cameron Whitney.
Hello, Cameron James Whitney. I come from we're African American.
We can't see you, Cam.
Oh, sorry. You see me?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm African American and I have a little bit of Indian in me, but we don't know from what tribe, and it comes from both sides of the family. From my mom, Christina Whitney, and my dad, Anthony Whitney. I have the cruise head shape from my mom, and I got the Whitney cheekbones from my dad. That's it.
All right. Mr. Jaden Lee.
I don't know that much about my dad's side, but I know that on my mom's side, my grandfather is from North Carolina, and I think like some of the only things I know about my dad is that like him and his family were from North Carolina too. And I actually have an uncle on my dad's side that stays near an aunt of mine on my mom's side in North Carolina.
Okay.
And I also have an aunt in Florida on my dad's side.
All right. Tamari.
My name's Tamara Mason. I'm a mixture of my dad, Terry Mason, and my mom, Lakeisha Mason.
All right. Trey?
My name is Cornell Prince. I go by Trey. And am I on mute?
No, we can hear you.
All right. And on my mom's side, it's Indian, Black, and Caucasian. And me and my dad, we're trying to figure out, go more in detail about his side of the family.
Okay. Let's see. Brandon Miller.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Brandon Miller. My father is Dr. Carlton Miller. My mother is Miss Katana Moon Miller. The roots of both of our families are large. Both sides of our families are largely in the Richmond area and surrounding areas. My great-great-grandmother, my father's great-grandmother, she originally came to the Richmond area from South Carolina, and there started her family here in Richmond, and it's expanded ever since. My great-grandmother, who was my father's grandmother, she would tell stories of this. And a point about her, she passed away in 2001, so I did have the pleasure of knowing her. She passed away at the age of 103, which means that she was born in 1898 and lived to see 3 centuries.
Good stuff. All right. Jeremiah Miller.
I'm the son of Kevin and David Miller, and they're from Culpeper, Virginia, and Northern Virginia, like my brother said. I get most of my characteristics from my mom and some of my physical features from my dad. But the classify me as a Miller, they always say I have a Miller nose and other things like that. But I'm not sure about our hair as much, but that's all I know.
All right. Mr. Gabriel Jones.
Good morning. I'm the son of Abdul Jones and the son of Kimberly Jones, and the second born of 3 kids.
Eat it. We can't see you. We can't see you, Gabriel.
My apologies. Are you guys able to hear me?
Okay, there you go.
Are you able to hear me?
All right. Yeah, we can hear you now. Okay. Okay, run through that for me one more time, please.
I'm the son of Abdul Jones and Kimberly Jones, and the second born of 3 kids, Eliza Jones, me, Gabriel Jones, and Lauren Jones.
Okay. All right. To carry on.
Good morning. My maternal
turn you. There you go.
grandfather
Okay.
was one of the first black railroad engineers in Georgia, and I don't know a lot about my dad's side. So,
okay.
I'm the son of Okevia Harris and Daryl Studden.
All right. Right. Mr. Alvin Cannon.
Hold on.
You call me Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Mr. Alvin Cannon. I'm the youngest of 4. My mother's name is Florence Mae Smith. My father is Harvey West Cannon. I have a lot of family history. My grandfather was born in 1879. My grandmother was born in 1891. In the Cannon family, we transcended all the way through Delaware. And in Delaware, if you go back and read your history book, you'll see something called the Cannon Gang. The Cannon Gang was a part of a group that was helping Harriet Tubman. If you know, Harriet Tubman's from the Eastern Shore as well, and so they was kind of helping her do an escape on the plantations. My family in the Cannon side was a lineage of farmers, so they didn't have a lot of slavery all the way back to I think the 1800s or further back in that lineage. On my mother's side, the Smith family. If people always talk about Indians, she had a strong lineage with that family, which transcended through the islands in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania, those little islands out there, which is funny where I grew up on the Eastern Shore of Virginia Islands. And so it's a lot of family history that I come from. The other thing that we recognize is that we target our families by middle names. My middle name is Lee, and that transcends through the family as well as most of our families. So we identify each other by middle names. So if you have a middle name, then we can track you quicker and easier through those processes. I found that out about 5 years ago. So my middle name really came from two families. My uncle on my mother's side, and also my on my dad's side.
All right. Let's see who we haven't gotten here. Now see Isaiah on here. Yep, Isaiah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Isaiah. Can you guys see me?
Let me see. Nope.
Just talk.
There
It
you go.
says I have
We got you.
It says Thank you. It says that my video. I'm descendants of Richard Amenzia and Cassandra Amenzia, and my dad's is from West Africa, Ghana, specific, and my mom's.
All right, Isaiah, we're gonna come back to you. You went dark on us here.
Oh, did you not hear everything that I said?
No, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm descendants of Richard Amenzia and Cassandra Amenzia, and personally, I'm from New Jersey, and then we moved here 3 years ago. But my dad's side of the family is from West Africa, specifically Ghana, and my mom's side of the family is from New Jersey and South Carolina.
Okay. All right. Caden.
My name is Caden Hunter. I don't know a lot about our heritage, but I do know that I get a lot of my facial features from both my dad and my mom.
Okay. Devin Anderson.
Hello, my name is Devin Anderson, and I'm the son of Kevin Anderson and Kimberly Anderson. I look more like my dad, and I get my tendencies from my mom, and I don't know much about my heritage.
Okay. Let's see. We haven't heard Rakim.
Hello. Good morning.
Turn your screen on for us. Good morning.
Can you see me?
Yep. There you go.
My mother's name is Kimberly Morel. My father's name is Shane Morton. We're both, on both sides of my family, we're from the Caribbean, the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas and St. Croix mostly. On my mother's side, my grandfather is part St. Lucian, part French. My grandmother on my mother's side is mostly Caribbean. On my father's side, my grandmother is part Puerto Rican, part Santomian. and my grandfather is fully Santonian.
Okay. Let's see. Keith Melton. Are you there, Keith? All right. Let's go to, I think it was one more person I saw. Xavier.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm the son of Katrina and Rashawn Walker. I get my face and stuff from my father and all the other stuff from my mother. My grandfather was in the military on my dad's side. Both my grandparents on my dad's side was in the military. And on my mom's side, I didn't get to meet my great grandfather who was in the military. The only thing I remember of him is I have pictures of him, and I have his flag off his casket from his funeral. And I would like to know more about my great grandfather.
All right. So I think I got everybody. And now I'll do mine as well. So my name is Scott Shepard Johnson. And as you heard Mr. Cannon say, his middle name is Lee, which is a last name of the family. So Shepard is my mother's maiden name, and Johnson is my father's last name. And yes, that is a way that we have tracked our family to keep track of the family for all the males. The females did not get middle names as such, only the males did in our family. I am the son of Sarah Ellen Shepard, maiden name, and Jack Johnson, no middle name. My father is from Charlotte, North Carolina. My grandfather on my father's side owned 475 acres, which is where downtown Charlotte is right now, where the Panther Stadium is, was my grandparents' farm. It backed up to the railroad that runs through Charlotte. So my father used to see the chain gang come down that railroad track where that stadium is now. My grandparents on my mother's side were both sharecroppers as well. So we own farmland up on the eastern shore of Maryland off of Route 50 in Cordova, Maryland. So I come from a family of agriculturalists, fishermen, and mechanics and truck drivers on both sides of my family. So it's pretty much the same. My father's family migrated to the United States through Orangeburg, South Carolina, as well as Livonia, Georgia. My mother's side of the family is natives of the eastern shore of Virginia, as far as I've traced back so far, and also from Harrington, Delaware, as well. So we are very much Eastern Shore natives. I've traced our family back to, I believe it's 1816 is as far as I've gotten back so far. But as we go through this, I'm going to show you all some ways that you can find out more about your families, especially you all who have said, you know, that you want to know more about this, you want to know more about that. So my father's family, as far as I have gotten, is to Barbados, is where we came from, is Barbados. On my mother's side, everybody has gone back thus far to Northampton County to Wardtown. And my mother's family are Satchels and Strattons and Savages. Those are the last names that we've gotten to so far. So this is an ongoing research project for me, as I hope it will become for you all, so you really know who you are. So that's it for me. I just saw in the chat that there are two people that weren't called. Joshua Amanzia. Joshua?
Yeah, it looks like Chris and Kevin as well. Kelvin as well.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Are you calling on me, Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Oh, I went already.
No, Joshua Amanzia.
Oh.
Hello, I'm Joshua Amendia. I'm
Turn your screen on, Joshua.
descendants of Richard and Cassandra Amendia. From my dad's side of the family. My
Can you turn, Joshua? Can you turn your screen on?
It says it's unable to access.
Okay.
Hello. Well, my mom's side of the family is from South Carolina and New Jersey.
Okay.
And my dad's side of the family is from West Africa and Ghana.
Got it. Awesome. All right. And let's see. So Kelvin and Christopher.
Good morning.
There you go. Good morning.
My name is Christopher Taliaferro, and my father is Charles Taliaferro Jr., and my mother is Tiffany Lemons Taliaferro. And I mostly look like my dad and share some features of my mom. My mom's side is mostly from California, and her grandparents are from Texas, and my dad's side is mostly from Virginia. And I know that my last name in translation in Italy means iron fist.
I got you.
All right, so good morning.
It
My
sounds
name is
about right.
and my dad comes from my father is Kelvin Melton Sr. and my mother is Jessica Telfero. My dad comes from Georgia as well as my brother, and my mother is originated in Virginia. And that's all I know about our heritage of our family.
Okay. And I think I also missed Christopher Perham.
From what I know about my heritage, on my dad's side, I think that my grandma's father owned a farm. He was a farmer. And then my grandpa bought the land off of him and took over the land. And he also became a farmer and he worked as a handyman to provide for my dad. I don't know much about my mom's side of the family, but I know that they're related to some Indian tribes and from my grandmother's side, but I don't know much about my grandfather.
Okay.
Got Jaden Littles on there as well.
Okay. I forgot we got two Jadens. Okay, Jaden Little.
My name is Jaden Little, and my mama name is Keena Blow. My dad name is Jaden Little. I got my last name from him, and that's all I really know.
Okay. And I saw Jamir just logged in, Jamir Sherman.
Yes,
So
sir.
Jamir, just to give you an idea, what we're doing is we're going through and answering the question, who are you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm an athlete. I'm part of the National Capital League board. I wrestle and I play football. We won state champions last year. I'm the captain of the wrestling team. I'm also a volunteer in my community, active member of my community, as I volunteer for the food pantry once a week. Where I was hearing others give their heritage from their mother and their father's side. I don't know much. I know my grandfather was in the
Army. I don't know him very well, and I do have a cousin who's in the Marine Corps currently, and I'm trying to go to the military myself.
Okay.
But yeah, so far, yeah.
All right. All right. So I think that covered everybody that we have. So I want you all to reflect on what you just heard that everybody said. So when that question was asked, I fell right into what everybody else did when it said, "Who are you?" So what most of us did was we told about our families, but we didn't tell about ourselves as to who we are. So what genealogy tells you is where you come from, not necessarily who you are. That was our setup for us to go to the next question. So this goes to where do I come from? So a lot of us, that's what we just went through. So I'm gonna show you all a quick clip of what ancestry does as far as with tracing your roots.
You can't hear it, sir.
You said you can't hear it?
Can't hear it.
You can't?
Can't. Yes.
Nobody can hear?
That's correct. It's not. We're not getting the audio.
Yeah, nobody can.
Yes, we cannot hear it.
All right, hold on. I know what I got to do.
No, click the which color mark.
Share sound button.
I can't really hear. Yeah, that's what I just said.
All right,
Were
what about now?
enslaved. Though every African brought to America was brought as a slave, roughly 10% of our ancestors were freed by the start of the Civil War. So if you're descended from one of them, tracing your family history will be far easier than you ever imagined, since free people of all colors were listed by name in the federal census and on a wide variety of other public and legal documents.
Frank Owens, age 40, sex male. Lovey Owens, age 30, female.
Now, you just met your third great-grandparents, your great-great-great-grandparents. And Latifah, in 1860, they are listed by name in the census. So what does that mean?
That means they weren't slaves?
That means you descend from free Negroes. You descend from free people of color.
Thank you, Lord.
Realizing that so many of her relatives had been spared the horrors of slavery was profoundly moving to her. It also allowed us to trace her Black ancestry back into the 1700s, something we can almost never do, and to reveal in the end the rarest of all finds in African American genealogy, the document that freed her first ancestor.
Being conscientious of the injustice and impropriety of holding my fellow creature in state of slavery, I do hereby emancipate and set free. No way. No way. One Negro woman named Jug, who is about 28 years old, to be immediate free after this day, October 1st, 1792. Mary Old.
You're looking at the moment that your family became free.
I mean, what must that have been like to get this, to know this, to know that you are free?
You know, on September 30th, 1792, she was a slave.
Yep.
The next day,
she was free. It's all at once ridiculous and just so important. People still think that one person can't make a difference. One person made a difference.
Oh, big time.
To my whole entire family line. Mary Old One person made a difference to my entire family line. That's crazy.
Now, that right there, that was a clip from Tracing My Roots, which is a PBS program that documents your history and your family history. So I want you all to just imagine you all right now at the age that you all are, you have a lot of questions about where do I come from? Where does my family come from? Who do I come from? So the exercises of what we're going to work on today, it goes back to what you just saw. So that was the result of the research that was done of your ancestral tree and your ancestral heritage. Okay. So this right here, we get ready to play is how do you get started in that process?
Learn how you can start your family history research for free.
Can you hear that?
As we're all staying
Yes,
home
sir.
during
Yes.
the COVID-19
Yes, sir.
virus outbreak, many of you may be looking for ways to help yourself be entertained. In this video, I'm going to help you get started with your family tree for free. This is a 5-step process for you to get the most value out of the free resources available online. We'll get to that in just a moment, but first, let me introduce myself. My name is Connie Knox. I am a lifelong genealogist here to help you go further, faster, and factually with your family research. Now, Genealogy TV has a newsletter, a Facebook page, and a website. Links for all of that are in the show notes below, but the website is at genealogytv.org, where you'll find everything. For those 5 tips on how to begin your family history research for free is coming up. All right, let's talk about free records. What is free and what is not? Typically, U.S. federal records are free. Many of the items you find in libraries and archives are free, but there are a host of other free websites and services that offer access to their services or records. You should know about the 72-Year Privacy Act and the concerns over privacy of living individuals that may keep some records unavailable. The 72-Year Privacy Act was really created just to protect the information of living individuals and is based, at the time it was written, on the average lifespan of a person. For example, the U.S. Census records are only available up to 1940, but you can access the 1790 through 1940 census records available. They are available today for free. Almost all genealogy companies have free records available online that you can access right now. So, what's free and what's not? Well, companies like Ancestry.com, FindMyPast.com, and MyHeritage.com, there's many of them. The general rule is if the company had to pay for the rights to the records, then access to those records will be behind a paywall or a subscription service. However, if the company was permitted access to already public records, or the information was obtained by volunteers, like you and me who have put information on our family trees, then that information is available to the public generally for free. For example, at Ancestry, you can search other member trees for free as long as the member has set their tree to public. And I highly recommend you do so, but more on that in a minute. Coming up is the 5-step process for starting your family tree for free. Now, hold on to your hat. I'm going to run through a lot of information to trace your family tree for free. Feel free to rewind and watch sections of this video again so that you can take notes in case you miss something. You will want to watch this video to the end, as there are some bonus tips, and you'll want to know how to get started with additional information and recommendations. And I've also created a downloadable document with many links about the resources that we're talking about in this video. And yes, that's available for free as well. So stick around and I'll let you know how you can get your hands on that document here shortly. Now, lastly, before we get started, If you want to get the most out of your free options, do these steps in order as I presented them. And
so guys, I'm gonna pause this for a second. I want you all, as she's going through this, we're not going to watch this entire video. I'm going to send this video out to you all as well as to your parents as well, so you can sit down and go through this with your parents. But make sure you're taking notes on very specific websites that she's going to give you. So we're probably going to look at the first quarter of this, maybe about 5 more minutes of it. But I want you all, like I said, make sure you pay close attention to the free sites and how you can access free information when it comes to your family history.
build out as much as you can in the family tree before you go on to the next step. All right, you ready? All right, step 1 is building your tree for free on Ancestry.com. If you reside or are researching in the United States, I recommend that you build your tree for free on Ancestry.com. Now, why would I say that? Because it is your tree, and only you and those you assign to be contributors can modify it. It is your work. Creating a free tree on FamilySearch.org, for example, well, this is a collaborative tree, and you're merely adding to the world tree, and it may or may not be accurate, and others can change the information that you've entered. Don't get me wrong, Family Search is an awesome resource, but we're going to get more into that here shortly. Now, Ancestry has a free trial versus a guest account. Let's talk about that for a moment. A free trial will expire, and you need to give them a credit card to secure that free trial. And then once the free trial is over, your credit card will be charged unless you cancel it. Now, a guest account, you can use and build a free tree with a guest account without paying for it. To set up a free guest account, I've got a link in the document that I am going to provide you here at the end of this video to show you how to get to that free guest account as opposed to a free trial account. Now, if you want a free trial, I'll give you a link for that as well. Now, per Ancestry support page, they said, quote, because registered guest accounts are free, there is no need to cancel them. You will never be billed for a free registered guest account. Simply discontinue using it whenever you'd like. Okay, so there's the tip number 1, really, is to build that tree as a guest account as opposed to a free trial. All right, step 2 is to talk to your family. Get them to help you fill out the blanks in your tree, collect copies of photos and records. You may have to set up a free Skype account or something like that these days in order to have the conversation, since we're all hunkered down at home. But I highly recommend that you start with your eldest family members first and have a conversation with them. Consider asking them to do a DNA test. And if they want to do a DNA test, while that's not free, you can have that shipped directly to their home. They can take the test and ship it back, and you may find some more cousin matches there. There are great tips for how to interview your family. I will leave a link in a flag above this video right now. It's called 12 Tips for Interviewing Your Family. And part of it is really talks about face-to-face conversation, which you may not be able to do because we are all staying at home these days. But there's some great information about what questions to ask. All right? All right, now in step 3, you're going to be researching the world tree on FamilySearch.org for clues. Now, everything on Family Search is free, even the records. In the next step, we're going to be researching the world tree. Now, remember, this is a collaborative tree. We're going to be researching this tree for clues and records that match the tree that you're building on Ancestry. I recommend that you build your free tree on Ancestry.com and keep it as your primary tree and use Family Search's tree to find clues. You can upload your data on FamilySearch.org later, but for now, let's just use this information to find clues and information that you didn't find on Ancestry. Now, you can build your family tree on Family Search if you want, but at this stage, I don't recommend it. The reason is that Family Search is not your personal tree. It is one huge collaborative tree, and so other people can modify it, and that can be frustrating for some. Also know that all public trees on all services are not perfect. The trees and the data within them are only as good as the person who uploaded it. So therefore, don't assume that just because you found it on a tree on Ancestry or Family Search or MyHeritage or any of the others, that it is the gospel truth. You need to evaluate the evidence for yourself and build a tree based on facts. Also, if you find errors in trees, please be kind. Don't be frustrated with the company thinking that it's their fault that the data is wrong. It is likely a mistake by people like you and me who've mistakenly uploaded this data in error. Consider this. You might be wrong too. So before you fire off an angry note to another member, take a breath and think twice. Be kind. We're all in one big happy genealogical family, so be nice when you're emailing people and point out that, you found some discrepancies. And maybe you take that approach, is that you found some discrepancies between their data and your data, and you are investigating what could be the facts. Okay? Now, the great part about Family Search is that you may find some of those records that were behind the paywall at other subscription services, things like birth, marriage, and death records. Occasionally, you'll find them there at Family Search or in other family trees. This is why you're keeping a list of those records that you found that you might not have been able to get access to for free on the subscription services. Now you can keep 2 tabs open on your computer, one for Ancestry where you're building your free tree and the other for any other service that you are researching in. Then you can pop back and forth and add things as you find them. Don't forget to put a source in there as to where you found it. You can even do that just simply in the comment sections of each fact that you find. Now, when you find something, download it to your computer and keep good notes and files. Now, that's another set of videos that I have created. One is called Research Notes Episode 6, which is part of the Learn Genealogy series. And the other one is called Good Filing Habits from the Start. That is Episode 3. I will leave links for you in the show notes below the video, as well as maybe some flags up above. For you to get to those episodes, I highly recommend that you check those out. Now, in step 4 is what records to research and where. Okay, so when you're getting started, what you want to look for, first of all, you want to look in your own files. Find all the vital records and anything that you happen to have already and start documenting that in your tree on Ancestry. All right, and then you're looking for vital records, census records, military records, religious records, evidence of residence. You're trying to create a timeline of a person's life, and you're building that through these records. Now, these are all great places to start. You can find some of these records well, let's start with census records. So you can find census records at Ancestry, Family Search, MyHeritage, census.gov, just to name a few. If you've created a tree at Ancestry, it'll probably be easiest for you to start looking for census records there. Now, you also want to look for birth, marriage, death records, but I would suggest you start with Family Search first, because sometimes you can find birth certificates, marriage certificates, and that kind of stuff at Family Search for free, whereas sometimes it's behind the paywall at some of the other services. Also, look for evidence of death. You can do this at Find a Grave, Billion Graves, and you can find some of it at Ancestry and Family Search, Find My Past, just about any of the services. You might be able to find evidence of death. And sometimes when you're looking in free services, you're only going to find it in an index because the death certificate might be behind a paywall. It just depends. So again, you want to look at Family Search for that as well. Really, you want to look at Family Search before you go and pay for any certificate. So make sure you're looking there. All right, so you want to look also for evidence of residence. You can do that in city directories, yearbooks, at Ancestry, at MyHeritage, Family Search, and so on. You want to be looking for genealogies that other people have put up. You can find those at Ancestry, Family Search, MyHeritage, Find My Past, all of them. Okay, now the other thing you're going to be looking for is obituaries and burial records, and those are typically in newspapers. You can find a free resource at Chronicling America, which is part of the Library of Congress. That's why it's free. It's because we as taxpayers pay for that service, all right? You can also find some of those obituaries. Sometimes people will post them on Find a Grave and Billion Graves, so make sure you check there as well. All right, now step 5 is all about social media. Social media is a great place to find surname groups, location groups, history groups, all to help share information about your family. Now, just go to your favorite social media outlet and search for surname groups. Search for genealogy, search for family history and the surname that you are researching. Search for locations in the area that you are researching. You might just find a surname group where you can connect with others. Now, I recommend you start a Facebook group. That's where I have had the most success with Facebook genealogy groups. You can also find them on Pinterest and Instagram and other places as well. Consider starting your own Facebook group to share your family history discoveries with your family and friends. You can make them private or public. I have several of these where I share photos and stories and memories. I've had great success on Facebook. If you do, remember to capture those stories and save them on your computer for your own family history archives. Don't rely on Facebook or others to be your family history archive forever, because it'll eventually go away. All right, I have some bonus tips for you. And the first one is to now exercise some free trials. So now that you've built out that tree, you've done all of the other steps, and you've gone as far as you can, and you've created a list of all of those documents that you couldn't get to because they were behind a paywall, now's the time to turn on a free trial. Now, some of them are 2 weeks and some of them are longer. But now you have your list of those documents. Turn the free trial on. Go up there and download as many of those free documents as you can.
All right. So I wanted to make sure that everybody got to hear what her steps are that she recommends that everybody goes through. So if you all have your the printouts, does everybody have the ancestry tree printed out that I sent out, or no?
Yes,
No.
sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
All right. Let's see.
Okay.
I'll make sure that's in the group. Do you all see the link in the group chat, or do you need me to repost it?
You repost it.
Can you repost it, please?
I see it. It was one of the original ones you posted. If you go all the way up. I think it was one of the first ones you posted, Scott, in the chat. All the way up at the top.
I put it in there. Oh, shoot. Never mind. Hold up. All right, let me get it. All right, y'all see it pop in?
Yes.
All right. All right, can you all see it?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
So let's look at the.
No, I can't see it.
Who said they can't see it?
Me, Elijah Johnson.
I can't see it either, Mr. Scott.
Are you all on cell phones, or are you all on a computer?
Cell phone.
I'm on my cell phone.
Okay, that's probably why. That's probably
Oh,
why.
word.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson.
So I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Don't worry about it. All right. Okay, let's see. Family tree. Here we go. All right, can y'all see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So this was emailed out to everybody right here. So let's go here. All right. You'll see here. Let me move this out of my way. Okay. So this right here is both sides of your family. You'll see here, this is your father's side, and this is your mother's side. So right here, you see it says attach your block right here. So what you do is you basically, you put yourself in the middle right here. That's you. Let me turn this. So this is you, your birthday, and where you were born. And you cut this out and you put this tab right here where you see it says attach your block right here. So you put that between these two of your parents, your mother's side and your father's side. And what that shows you is that you are the link between both sides of your family on your father's side and on your mother's side. So what you want to do is you want to sit down with your parents and ask these questions and write this in. You ask your mom, what's your birth date? Where were you born? When did you get married? What city and state did you get married in? And hopefully your parents are still living, but if not, you put down the date when they passed and where they passed, the city and state, because that information goes into vital records. And those vital records are what you access through the various channels of doing your research. And then you'll see here, it'll go up to your mother's grandmother and your mother's grandfather. And you have to do this for both sides of your mother's family. So this would be her grandmother and grandfather on her father's side. And then you print another one of these out and you have the grandfather and grandmother on the other side of the family. So that's how your tree will spread. So I want you all over the weekend to take time to do this because I'm looking at February, because it's Black History Month, to have each of you come on and present your family tree. All right. So I'm going to show you all while we're up here. Can you all still see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm showing you all, this is what I have done thus far on my family tree. So right here, this is me. This is my father. This is my mother. This is my son's mother. This is her father and her mother. So I'm going to take you all across here. This is my grandfather. So if I click on his profile, it gives me a short synopsis. It shows when he was born in Hart, Virginia. His mother's name was Sally. His father's name was Robert. He was married. He married Beatrice Johnson, which is my grandmother, but her maiden name is Dyson. They had 4 children. He then married his second wife. Her name was Rena Johnson. I don't know what her maiden name is yet. That's part of what I'm researching on there. He died on December 8th, 1969 at the age of 49 and was buried in Charlotte. So I found out my grandfather had a massive heart attack. All right. So I'll show you on my mother's side. So you see these little leaves that you see on here?
Yes.
So when y'all see those are what's called hints. So if I click on this, it'll say 6 ancestry hints. I click on that. This is showing me information about his death. This is his census voter list. So this information I know is incorrect. So you'll see here it says birth about 1916. So I can ignore this because I know that's not my grandfather. This information right here is in line with information that I know to be true. So I'll look at this. And it'll say, does the Moody Johnson in the record match the person in your tree? And I would have to say yes, because it does. And then it'll take you to a screen like this, and it'll say, this is different. So over here, I have Moody Osby Johnson, which is my grandfather's full name. So I don't need to check that box. Here it says new information before 1951. Before 1951, he lived in Georgia. I already know this to be true, so I don't need to check this. This is showing a different date. This just has the month and the year, whereas over here, I have the actual date of death of the 8th of December, 1969 in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. So with this, I just hit save to my tree, but I don't want to because this information is not as detailed and it's not giving me any additional information. So I don't need to save this. I can cancel this. All right, so this, I want you all to see what it looks like. Now I'll go down to my son here. So this shows both of his sisters, and this goes to his mom's grandparents. Same thing with my daughter. This is showing her mother's information. So I'm working and building all of these trees out. Now, this is my great-grandfather, Will Shepherd. So you remember when I told you all, as Mr. Cannon did, that our middle names are our mother's last names, there as far as their maiden names are concerned. So this is how it made it easy for me to follow this as far as I have followed it, is because of that. So this information right here, this is a census form. So I can click on this. And this right here is my grandfather, my great-grandfather. So William Shepherd, which I know that's him. Julia Shepherd is my great-great-grandmother. My great-grandmother. This is my mother's grandmother. Edward, that's my grandfather. Webster is my uncle, well, my great uncle. Ethel is my great aunt, and Leonard is my great aunt. I meant my great uncle. So this whole block right here, I know to be true. So this information where it says, does this right here where it says, does William G. Shepherd match the person in your tree? Yes, it does. So I click on it. Then what I do is I click on it again and I save this to my computer so I have it on my computer as well. So that way I have copies of these files. So this is showing you all, I want you all to actually see what this looks like. So when you begin this process of building your ancestry tree, you have points of reference that you can look at. And of course, you know, if you all need to call me as you're going through this, it's no problem. But I think what will happen is you're going to learn so much about your families that you probably did not know from this information. All right, so you'll see here, I have this, all this stuff is family tree information up here for the most part. So I want to make sure that you all got to see this. And the other thing, I want to take you all to the where'd my screen go? I'm going to take you all to familysearch.org, which is a free site that you can go on and do your research, as the lady was explaining to you. So let's go here. Okay.
You want me to show it to him?
You got it? You got it up already?
I'm ready to roll.
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and you can pull it on up then.
I'm gonna scare everybody. Okay. Can they see that screen?
It's not up.
Oh,
No,
let
sir.
me share. Can you see it now?
There you go.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the Canada family. Remember I was telling you guys about the last names and the middle names? Well, there's Lee, my middle name, and 1899. So here's what's funny about this. This guy right here is my great-grandfather. That's my great-great-grandfather. And if I click here, all these people here, those are his children, Alfred and Mary. Okay, if I click here, you'll see where you see John Asbury. John Asbury is my grandfather. Remember I was telling you he was born in 1879. They had him in 1878. That's him. So if I click on him, then lo and behold, you'll see him here. See where it says New Church, Virginia, Accomack? Scott is very familiar. Then I look at the resources, and here it says tree. And under tree, if you drop that down, you actually see his family lineage. And that is my grandmother. And over here, that's my father, Harvey West. And those that know my family, the West, my brother's middle name. And so you can kind of see, see the Harry and the Charles and all those. And so these are all attached as a family name. How you go back and you track people, you can see all these Johns everywhere. You'll see Harrys everywhere. And that's how they track each other. If you go back and the family originated from Delaware, so it's relatively easy. And if you look at here, that's 1792. That goes back a little ways to the 1700s on the lineage. And then if you look at this, you see these little blue icons. That's records. You can click on and get the records of the family. Here. So that's relatively easy. And so that's what you use. And if you go over here, I kind of slid over. I click my dad, and lo and behold, that's me right there. And that's my sister, and my brother. And so if you click that, it'll keep going, and it'll keep going, and it'll keep going. And so you can kind of tie into your kids, and so on and so forth. So you build, and as Mr. Johnson said, you can kind of track your entire family. And it's not as complicated as it seems to be, but it's relatively easy. The difficulty is what Mr. Johnson is telling you is when you're clicking here, and this is my great grandfather. When you're clicking here, you see the children. Once you click them, then they have husbands and children, and so that tree grows bigger and bigger. because those kids become your cousins or your great uncles or your great aunts at that time.
So just to let you all know something, where you see it says Levin H. Cannon right there, I told Mr. Cannon that there was something that popped up in our family history, and that is the name that popped up in our family history, and that is who my great great grandfather is supposedly have been named after, and his name is Levin Satchel. So I have to do some more digging because I'm trying to get to the bottom of this.
You don't have to go too
But
far, but
I got it. I got it. But so how many of you all have started working on a family tree already? Anybody?
I did last year, but I didn't get very far.
Okay, but that's okay. You started. And that's the key to all of this, of knowing who you are and knowing where you come from. A lot of you all, you have tendencies and traits that your parents may tell you that this is like them, and they act like this, you look like this, and you will be surprised when you go back and you start researching and you start seeing pictures. Like when I see a picture of my son looks like my great uncle, who was actually my favorite uncle that I used to fish with all the time. But I had never seen a picture of him when he was younger, only as an older man. When I saw a picture of him when he was younger, I saw my son's identical twin. And when I say identical, I mean you can put them side by side at the age of 7 right now, and only way you would know it's different is because it's a color picture as opposed to a black and white picture. So make sure that you all you take the time to really do the research on this. But this familysearch.org is a free resource for you. And just like the lady that was presenting, like she said, you can go to Ancestry and get a guest account, and that is free. And you use that to pull your research from one place to the other, as well as the other research sites, as far as the Census Bureau, the Library of Congress. The Virginia Library, which is on Broad Street, is also a major source of records for those who have family roots from Virginia. So this is something that's very, very important that I think you all really need to delve into, so you know who you are, where you come from, how your family got here. Because until you know that, a lot of times you never figure out what your purpose is, why you're here. Because you got ancestors that came here, not voluntarily. But once they got here, they made the best of the situation that they were put in. So I think that's something that we really, really need to delve into. So for Black History Month, and I'm gonna send this out to you all in an email, what we're going to do is each day of Black History Month, starting in February, we're going to get on and we're going to share probably 2 at a time, just because of the number of Kappa Leaguers that we have in our program. Probably 2 people per day, we're going to share our family lineage and our family trees. So this is stuff that you all should start to work on. And you start with the worksheets that I emailed out to you. So print those out. Sit down with your parents, sit down with your grandparents, go through and start documenting and writing this stuff and this information out. And I think you're going to find out a whole lot about yourselves, but you're also going to find out even more about your families, and especially those who say, I don't know much about this or that. And I want to say this because I want y'all to understand this. When you're having these conversations with family, sometimes these are hard conversations because everybody's family dynamics, there's something in every family, and don't think it's just your family, in every family, that it may shock you. And I think I've shared with some of you that I'll take my great grandfather, Will Shepherd, the one whose record that we were just looking at. he got shot in the chest twice and once in the stomach by a shotgun. So my question was, why? Because it was told to me as a child that my great-grandfather had committed suicide. And now that I have done the research and I found out what I found out, it wasn't that he committed suicide, it's that he was shot. So me being the person that I am and thinking what I'm thinking, and now that I know who the person was that shot him and the proximity of where they live, I can almost bridge the story of what actually happened. So just know that as you're going through this, you're going to uncover some stuff. It may be uncomfortable. It may be stuff you don't like. And some stuff is going to make you smile. Some stuff is going to make you cry. And it's going to do the same thing with all of the members of your family. And it's okay, because that's what family is. And that's how you come to discover who you are as a young man. And you take this information, you internalize it. Some of it, you make it personal. Some of it, you let it go. But it's who you are. So always know who you are, why you're here, and where you're going. And gentlemen, I'm going to open the floor up. Let me see. So I'm going to start with Mr. Wigglesworth. Do you have any reflections or anything on this that you want to say to the young men?
Well, what I would, and I've been sitting here thinking, there's some, you know, as I found out more about my family, you know, originated in Spotsylvania County, Virginia, migrated up to Philadelphia. There was a very, very well-known incident that happened in the 1940s that my grandfather was a part of. And it's one of the things I would like to share with the kids during Black History Month. It's pretty well known, and I was very pleasantly surprised that you know, my father was you know, one of the 6 trailblazers. You know, it was a transit strike up in Philadelphia during the World War, and there were, you know, 6 Black transit workers that crossed the color barrier, and he was one of them. But you know, I'll elaborate on that. But you know, you'll find heroic stories like that as you delve into your history, and those are really things to be proud of, and those are really things that, you know, unbeknownst to you, make you who you are. You know, me as a leader and educator, you know, a 30-year Army veteran, you know, it kind of reflects. It makes me think that, hey, you know, if I come from a line of trailblazers, and so maybe that's what fuels me. So you'll find you know, heroic stories, you know, in your research, and you know, share those. Those are great. So that's all I have, Scott.
All right. Gene?
Yeah, one of the things that I'll say is that when you guys are talking to your parents or talking to your family members and asking the information, a big question is ask your family members why things happen. Because it's one thing to know what happened, but you know, really do some investigation. Find out, you know, why family members moved for various reasons. You know, one of my family stories is that although I was born and raised, and the majority of my family is from Cleveland, Ohio, my grandfather was actually from Bedford, Virginia, and he ended up in Cleveland, Ohio, because he was living with an aunt and uncle in Virginia, and he knew his mother was in Ohio, and he decided he wanted to be with her, and he and my uncle hopped a freight train and ran away to Cleveland to be with their mother, and that's how he ended up there. And that's, you know, a story that he told me when I was a little boy that always kind of stuck into me. And now that I'm actually living in Virginia, it even hits me even harder to being back where he was originally from. So you never know where you're going to end up in your life, and wherever you go, family is always going to be there for you. You can always rely on those family stories.
All right. Harold?
Well, the only thing I would add is, like I said, I was 9 of 11. My mother was married to George McManus Sr., and her first 8 kids was by him. At least that's what the records say. My father was Ralph Johnson. Um, I never met, I met his father one time when I was about 5 years old. I don't even remember his name. I never met my grandfather on my mother's side. So it's interesting because I've been thinking, do I really want to go back and do the research? And after sitting in this session, I'm gonna do it because I had a great relationship with both my grandmothers. But those I was still young and those conversations never came up. But I guess the only thing I would say to you guys is no matter what you find, it has no bearing on what you can be.
All right. All right. I got one more of the adults that I want you all to hear from. He's actually on here as a Kappa League advisor from one of our other chapters, and that's Mr. Hilton Cole. He's with Dulles Leesburg alumni chapter. He's Kappa League advisor up there. So Hilton, if you would. Did he jump off? I thought I saw him on. Okay. He's closer to you all's age, and I wanted y'all to hear from him, but I want to hear from some of you guys what your takeaways are. We got a few minutes left here, and we're going to wrap up, but I want to hear. Oh, there you go. Hilton, if you would for me.
Brother Chairman, Brother Guy, Chairman Johnson, thank you so much. I was just switching into some Kappa paraphernalia from what I had on.
Okay.
I do apologize.
It's
So
all
hey
good.
there, everybody. What's going on? My name is Hilton Cole. I'm a guide right chairman, just like Mr. Johnson right here. I'm the chairman of the Dulles Leesburg, Virginia program. So if you know where DC is, we're maybe 40 or 50 miles away. It's really good to be here with you guys.
So Hilton, what I wanted you to do is based off of what you saw from today, what information and what feedback would you give to the young men when it comes to discovering who they are, where they come from, and their genealogy?
I'm not sure if the quote was already said already, but without knowing who we are and where we've been, how can we ever know where we're going? So I think the brothers on the call, the older guys here, they did an excellent job, articulating about themselves, who they are, what's their mother's side story, what's their parents' father's story, all the way up the tree. I saw that video from the Queen Latifah that you played earlier, that it was crazy that she actually went back and did the research to obtain the document that literally changed her life. So my challenge to you guys is, this is something that, wow, opened my eyes a lot too. This is an exercise I think I want to do, and I want to work with our kids to do as well, to identify who we are, the story of where we come from. And then that would just be so amazing. We can figure that out. So we can chart then, okay, this is where we came from, go through the healing or go through the triumph or whatever those feelings are when you figure out your history, internalize it, and then move on. What do you want your history to be? You guys now have the knowledge. You guys are probably going to do this activity and find that, hey, my parents don't even have this knowledge. But now that you guys know, and as you guys make relationships, when you guys get older, get girlfriends, wives, when you guys get older and meet friends and whatever, you guys will have an understanding of where you've been, and then have a really, really tight vision of where you want to go. When somebody's doing this, because ancestry is only going to get more advanced as time goes along, it's only going to get better. When you have your great grandkids, what are they going to look back at you and say that you were? What are the things that you're doing now that are going to cause your descendants to feel proud. So just something to think about.
All right. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So I want to hear from a couple of you all before we close out. Miles, you still with us?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Okay, cut your screen on for a minute. I want to hear from you what your takeaway was from everything today.
Okay. I think that I learned so much about other people's history, and well, I still need to learn so much about my history. But I think it's important for everybody to know who and
Okay.
and what's that?
Okay. Caden,
Yes, sir.
what's your takeaway from today?
Um, it was very informative. Um, I think I don't remember what her name was.
You talking about the genealogist or Queen Latifah?
The genealogist. The
Okay.
the web stuff that she gave us were very helpful.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Jaden Little, your takeaways from the day.
What was the question? I didn't hear you.
I said, what was your takeaway from the exercise today?
That I could find out a lot of stuff about my family that I didn't know.
Okay. All right. Christopher Parham.
I took away that you're more than what you think you are. Like your heritage is part of what defines you. You're more than just black. You got a lot of different things going on.
Okay. Donovan.
My takeaway was that I only know as far as my grandparents on both sides, and I really want to know as far as my great grandparents, so I can learn more about my family.
Okay. Theo.
I learned that it's a good idea to know as much as you can about your family.
Okay. Gabriel.
I think that it gave me a better opportunity to learn about different areas of my family and know more about myself and different parts of my family's history.
Okay. Cameron.
As the other boys just said, I think it would be a very fun experience to go on ancestry.com, and I actually find about a lot more about myself that I didn't even knew. So that'll be a fun experience for not only me, but my entire family to look at and enjoy.
All right. Jamir.
I learned that one's heritage can go deeper than one can know. For example, I don't know much about my two grandfathers because we don't really talk to them. Like one of my grandfathers has passed, and one of them is just somewhere. I don't know where he is right now. I wouldn't even recognize him if he walked across the street. But I think our heritage can go way farther than we think it can.
Okay. All right. Savion.
So you talking about me or Save?
I'm sorry. I meant you, Xavier. I saw Savion's face and I'm
Oh,
looking at your name. Yes.
I will say I took away from this. You don't know who your family is unless you do research. Like my grandfather, my great grandfather, I didn't know him because he died before I was born. So I would like to know more about my great grandfather so I can know about him and what he did when he was in the military.
Okay. Landon?
My takeaway, my takeaway is that it's important to learn about your family and that it could really put an impact on your life in the future for like your later kids to tell them about you learn about your family and for them to learn about theirs. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Jeremiah.
Yeah, I learned that someone across your family can change one way how the rest of your family will be laid out. And for like example, I don't know my grandfather because he passed away before I was born, but now I know he had brothers and sisters and other things, and now it changed my whole line of my family.
Gotcha. All right. Tamari.
I learned today that there's a lot more out there than you really think there is about your family.
Okay. All right, guys. So, like I said, I'm going to follow up with the email that's going to go out, and I'm going to send you all the links to all the resources of what they gave us. And I want you all to start building your family trees from the sheets that were emailed to you all. And when we get together, when we're starting February, we'll start presenting those. But as we do our monthly meetings, I'll do some follow-up to see where you all are. Do you need help with anything? So just be prepared to start presenting those in February. It doesn't matter how far you get with it. I want you all to start. And you can start right there in your households this afternoon talking to your parents about it. All right. Any closing comments or anything from anybody? All right. Well, everybody enjoy
Yeah.
the. Somebody said, yeah.
No, that's a great job, Mr. Johnson.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right. Mr. Hilton Cole, appreciate you joining us this morning.
Appreciate you.
Brothers, I thank you all, young men. Have an exceptional day, and I look forward to hearing your stories. Everybody have a good day.
Outstanding.
Mr.
Everybody have a great
Johnson.
day.
All right.
Good day.